this beautiful New England day. Welcome to the Concord Carlisle High School commencement for the class of 2023. I now invite CCHS Senior Bill D to the stage to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Family and friends, please rise as you are willing and able.
Thank you, everyone. Shall I begin? Okay, then. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. CCHS, thank you for giving me a wonderful school year. I really enjoyed coming here and making lots of great friends. This is Bill D signing off.
Please remain standing as you are willing and able, as the CCHS graduation band will now play the national anthem.
Please be seated. Before we begin this joyous ceremony, let me remind you to turn off your cell phones. And please enjoy the ceremony. It is now my privilege to introduce you to the Superintendent of Concord Public Schools and the Concord Carlisle Regional School District, Dr. Lori Hunter.
Good morning. Good morning. Welcome, parents, faculty, members of the Concord Carlisle Regional School Committee, co-principals Miller and Stahl, other distinguished guests, and most importantly, the Concord Carlisle High School class of 2023. I can't help think that the weather of the past 24 hours is a great analogy to your high school experience. 90 degrees one day and almost record cold the next, making us all dig out coats for graduation. A first for me, frankly. Something we can never remember doing instead of expecting to sweat right through our clothes. And the question yesterday of what would happen next. Are we inside or outside? How much risk do we take when we decide? Unknown, change, flexibility, so characteristic of your last 4 years, and today we celebrate all of it. It's a really special morning. It's a morning that reflects all of your hard work. It's a morning that reflects the support that you have had from your family and friends. Let's treasure that for a moment and get off to a right start. Parents and families, and this will warm you up a little too, stand and applaud for your graduate. Thank you. Graduates, please take a moment and stand and applaud the folks that supported you to get here. It is a morning that you can remember for a lifetime. It is a morning that we used to take for granted as this celebration of what has happened and what is to come. We have learned a lot about what we took for granted and how much it mattered. Class of 2023, I hope you'll hear this recent story that is worth retelling and emphasizes the importance of those special moments. 55 years ago, the Concord Carlisle High School class of 1968 sat where you sit today. That is all but one member of the class. 5 months prior, an 18-year-old David McPhillips decided instead to enlist in the Marines, answering a personal call to join the war and go to Vietnam. The 1968 CCHS yearbook noted that David was the boy that had everything going for him in high school, but the call to duty was too strong. At this moment, David is serving his country in the U.S. Marines. David was noted to have played hockey and been on the chess club and was nicknamed Babyface by his classmates. David was deployed to Vietnam in 1969, where he was an engineer battalion building bridges, ones of which were near a Vietnamese refugee camp. Years later, David described lots of laughter and getting along with the people despite the language barrier. Honorably discharged in 1970, David earned his GED while in the Marines and then graduated from UMass Amherst, settling first in Concord and later Pembroke, where he lives today. David would have children of his own. Much to his own misgivings, his son Brian also enlisted. Tragically, Brian was killed in Iraq in April of 2003, just days before Baghdad fell, and was honored here in Concord in 2005 during the Memorial Day dedications. But that isn't the whole story. In April of this year, David wrote to me saying, "I do not recommend the path that I took in life and have always regretted leaving school early. I feel as if I've had a successful life, but I would like to make amends for one poor decision. I'm writing to you to request that I would be awarded a high school diploma under the provision in Massachusetts general law that allows veterans a diploma from the school they last attended if they left school for military service, participating in World Wars I, II, Korea, or Vietnam, and then received an honorable discharge." In asking David what he preferred in receiving his diploma, he declined to participate in this big, large setting that he felt is for the younger people. David wrote saying, "I am thinking that cap and gown might be too much. I'm 73, and I gave up imitating what younger people do and wear a long time ago." Instead, on May 9th, the Joint School Committee members and I presented David with his class of 1968 Concord Carlisle High School diploma. A few members of the class surprised David at the meeting. It was clear to us all that it was a moment we would remember as much as David and his family. David had said it was unfinished business, and it was finally finished. David shared with me that if he had any message for you graduates this morning, that he would, quote, "tell young people who are off to a bad start that they have the time to change their lives. To be born in Concord should be treated like winning the lottery in life. So many places in this country and world don't offer what Concord and Carlisle have." This morning, I will add to David's messages, since he actually taught me while he thought we were helping him. Here's what I learned. Believe in service and the impact your life has on others. Lead with humility. David felt his story might uplift others and said that is why he requested the diploma. He didn't share about the loss of Brian until we researched it and found out about his family's sacrifice. Honor your country and be deeply appreciative for those that are called to defend it and the democracy it stands for here and around the world. Resilience and strength are found in many forms, as shown in how David led a successful life after Vietnam and endured the loss of his son. Live in the moment and do not miss the moments while looking for what is next. And finally, be deeply grateful for what we can learn from others. David continued to thank us since there was no obligation to award him the diploma or to celebrate him. Instead, I will thank him for 55 years later. David brought to Concord a reminder of what is important in a high school graduation and in the life that follows. Take that reminder with you as you leave us. Like David, your time here was filled with service, loss, support, laughter, and leadership. That brings such hope in what is to come for you and all you touch. Thank you, and congratulations, class of 2023.
Good morning, and welcome to the Concord Carlisle High School commencement exercises for the graduating class of 2023. My name is Brian Miller, and I have the distinct honor to be one of the co-principals at CCHS. Congratulations to the wonderful students seated before us, and to their friends and family who have supported them along their journey over these past years.
My name is Katie Stahl, and I am the other co-principal at CCHS. To School Committee Chair Morano and the other members of the school committee, Superintendent Hunter, Assistant Superintendent Anderson, Special Education Administrator Wolf, Interim Dean of Students Johnson, and MECO Director Jemison, thank you for your continued guidance and leadership. To the faculty and staff, thank you for joining us on this celebratory day and for the work you do every day to educate and support our students. We are glad to have you all here to celebrate this amazing class.
To the class of 2023, it has been an honor and privilege to witness your growth and hard work over the last 4 years. As we all know, these last 4 years have been anything but easy. We have all faced challenges and hardships that we never could have imagined. But through it all, you have shown remarkable resilience, determination, and perseverance. We all learned new things together. How to adapt to virtual learning, how to navigate social distancing protocols, and you made the most of a very difficult situation.
Steve Jobs once told a group of students, "You appear, have a chance to blaze in the sky, then you disappear." Today we challenge you to think about how you are going to blaze. What are you going to do to make a difference in this world while you can? We know each of you, one way or another, will go on to do great things. You, the class of 2023, will always hold a special place in my heart. You see, the same year you walked through the doors of CCHS as 9th graders, I too was taking my first steps into CCHS as your new assistant principal. Like you, I was nervous. The school was unfamiliar to me, and I really had no idea what to expect. Was I going to like it here? Were people going to be nice? Were Mr. Miller, Mr. Mastrullo, and I going to work well together? Was the food decent? Probably many of the same kinds of questions that were likely running through your head as incoming 9th graders were also running through mine. Together during that time, we were embarking on a new chapter in our lives, and that was pretty scary.
Your 9th grade year started off relatively quietly, with many of you joining athletic teams, becoming part of a new club, or getting involved in a theater production. In December, you made it through your first set of exams, and your first semester as high school students was in the rearview mirror. Who knew that your first year at CCHS would be abruptly cut short? Just as third quarter was coming to an end, a date we will all remember for the rest of our lives. Thursday, March 12th, 2020. Dr. Hunter decided that we would not be coming back to school the following day.
We all know what ensued after that. For most of us, it felt like the world was being turned upside down. Things were changing day to day. There was so much unknown. Do we wipe the Amazon packages or do we not? Should we stand 3 feet apart or 6 or just bubble wrap ourselves and never leave our homes? In addition to the chaos and confusion of COVID, the death of George Floyd also happened during that time. His death sparked a much-needed national conversation about racial justice and equality that will continue to shape our society for years to come. Many of you, because of your willingness to be open and transparent about some of your experiences, were able to work together with us to start a real conversation about changes that many of you wanted to see happen here at school. CCHS is in a better place today because of these conversations and your commitment to partnering together to make these changes. So while there were some really challenging parts of your time at CCHS, there are way more positive ones that should be cherished and celebrated. You united together as a class and made your mark here. Let's remember a few ways of how you did that.
Your senior field hockey players graduate with the most wins in school history. Congratulations to Lorena Neptune, Caitlin Lyons, Emma Gephardt, Grace Baker, Lindsay Piper, Megan Fairbank, and Sarah Solomon.
Yes. You helped senior citizens with their yard work, which was a very popular act in high demand.
You produced 2 high-caliber productions of extremely challenging pieces, including The Secret in the Wings and Into the Woods.
Jonathan Charles was named DCL Wrestler of the Year in his first year ever of wrestling.
You participated in meaningful internships.
You had incredible representation at district and all-state festivals, including senior Hannah Gurma being selected for the all-national concert band.
You organized the first multicultural food fest since the start of the pandemic.
You facilitated Earth Week events to make this school and our planet a better place.
You argued intense moot court cases.
You planned for and played in the most successful Kicks for Cancer in Mighty Moose to date.
You didn't have any snow days this year. Sorry.
You received all gold medals for every group performing at MICA.
The robotics team advanced to the semifinals in the first New England Championship.
You entered and won high-caliber art competitions.
You hosted and participated in various exchange programs and travel experiences.
Abia Kubede was the all-state champion for indoor track in the 300-meter and the 55-meter hurdles.
You performed in Battle of the Bands.
Boys Nordic ski team were the state champions this year. This is quite a list of accomplishments. And where we find ourselves today, at this very moment, is not very different than where we found ourselves together in the fall of 2019. We are both, again, starting new journeys. You, graduating seniors, are about to start your new beginning. We, a few months into our new role as co-principals, are looking ahead to our first full year in this school with the new team and in our new role. Had anyone told me at the beginning of 2019 that just 4 short years from now that I would have helped lead a school through a pandemic and found myself in a co-principal position, I would have thought they were just straight crazy. But that's the funny thing. Life is constantly evolving. It's always presenting you with unforeseen opportunities and uncertainties. It's what you do with these opportunities that matter. Think to yourself, where would I be now if I didn't take the risks that I did in my 9th grade year? Maybe you wouldn't have met your absolute besties. Or perhaps you never would have uncovered a love for theater, running track, or becoming a DJ on WIQH.
While you were stepping out of your comfort zone and trying new things, you were not the only ones who were learning. You taught us so much. We have been learning right beside you and from you. As you get ready to leave CCHS, you leave the 2 of us filled with more knowledge, hope, and insights than you can imagine. These are lessons that we will carry with us as we move forward in leading CCHS. Here are 10 lessons the class of 2023 taught us about how to be good co-principals. You taught us how to actively listen and help make change for people who are underrepresented and have historically lacked a voice. Together, we sat through difficult conversations about race, gender, and equity, and had hard discussions about how to make CCHS a more welcoming and inclusive school for all students and staff.
You taught us how to lead with compassion, understanding, and integrity. We watched you become advisory leaders to our incoming 9th grade students who had worries as they transitioned into high school. You met their fears with grace and compassion and welcomed them with open arms.
You taught us how to be courageous. For goodness sake, you went to school through a pandemic. I am not sure what is more courageous than that. You have faced the unknown head-on with a positive attitude.
You taught us how to think critically and outside the box. Your 4 years here have required you to solve problems, whether it be in the classroom, the athletic field, or on the stage. When you were presented with a problem, you consistently rose to the occasion and developed a unique solution.
You taught us how to have patience. Your time at CCHS was not easy. There was not a straight line of success from when you entered as ninth graders to where you are seated today. However, each of you have succeeded. You are all about to be high school graduates.
You taught us how to be flexible and resilient. There were dozens of times when what we thought we knew one day was completely reversed the next.
You taught us how to have gratitude. As we emerged from the pandemic, you taught us how to value small moments like seeing a friend without a mask or giving a hug to a loved one.
You taught us how to collaborate with others. Throughout your time at CCHS, you've continually shown that the class of 2023 as a whole is greater than the sum of its parts. Together, you have worked tirelessly, and all you have accomplished is extraordinary.
You have taught us how to put others ahead of ourselves. As a class, you have completed 27,916 hours of community service. You have demonstrated your commitment and devotion to others.
And you taught us how to contact trace, even on Christmas Eve. And I'm really hoping that we never have to do that ever again.
Each one of you has the potential to create positive change. You have learned the importance of listening and advocating for those who have been historically marginalized and underrepresented. You have developed critical thinking skills and the ability to think outside of the box and to make things happen. You have learned to appreciate the little things, the small moments, and express gratitude. Throughout your 4 years here, you have demonstrated selflessness through the service to others. As a class, you have come together to embrace teamwork and collaboration, demonstrating that you are stronger together.
But after today, each one of you will walk your own individual path. You will leave CCHS with your own unique interests, talents, and passions. Blazing a trail requires grit, willingness to take risks, determination, and resilience. Over the last 4 years, you have shown us all of these things. You will leave a legacy for us and CCHS. Remember, finding success is not always a straight line. Your path will have its ups, its downs, highs and lows, very similar to the last 4 years. It's how you choose to make an impact on this world that will make a difference. So when you leave here today, reflect upon what Steve Jobs said. You appear, have a chance to blaze in the sky, then you disappear. Now, class of 2023, it is your time to blaze your own trail. Congratulations, class of 2023.
It is now my pleasure to welcome Senate Moderator Iola Chen.
Hello, class of 2023. It feels kind of surreal to be up here, but anyways, I'm Iola, and to preface, public speaking is not my strong suit, so if I fumble over my words, please do not let me know. First, let me say a big thank you to Mr. Miller, Ms. Stahl, and Dr. Hunter for giving me this opportunity. Today is June 3rd, 2023. Today, our high school career ends, and our 4 years of hard work pay off as we walk across this stage. Tomorrow, we'll wake up, we'll visit a couple grad parties, hopefully sleep off all night live. Our lives will continue on as normal, and we'll realize that high school is not an end, but just another part of our bigger life story. But not gonna lie, as I stand here and look around, I can't help but feel like this graduation does mark a certain end. For a while, we have close friends who we will continue to see. Truthfully, many of us may never see each other again. And this is not to get all mopey and sad, because I truly believe there is something beautiful about cherishing these relationships and interactions. There's something special about holding someone in my memory for making me laugh in English, or helping me understand a physics lab, or bringing in a cake for our freshman year geometry class. Because at the time, these moments that seem small now, like frantically studying for a calc test just blocks before, or cheering for my teammates' 200 IM, these moments were bigger than life. And I think it's important to acknowledge how these tiny moments, they may not matter in the long run, when we all have jobs or out there taking over the world, but they mattered then at the moment. And in 2023, they shaped our days and our hearts. And isn't that just as important? Isn't it just as important to thank those tiny moments and everyone who made those moments happen? I've been told numerous times that many things in high school don't matter in the grand scheme of things. Yes, we high schoolers have a flair for being overdramatic. I mean, it's only 4 years, only 35,064 hours, only 126,230,400 seconds of our lives. But yeah, I know, a bad test grade doesn't affect whoever or wherever I'll be in 30 years, but that doesn't mean it didn't hurt in the moment. And now I'm not saying let's now lull over our bad test grades. I'm just saying that these moments that don't matter in the long run maybe kind of do in some small way. They have affected who we have become over these 35,064 hours. They have molded the people who will soon walk across the stage, and they will have prepared us for our future ahead. So I hope we don't look down at our high school experience in hindsight, or devalue our time here as it grows smaller in the rearview mirror. Because while there have been tough moments for sure, classes we've cried over, friends we've stressed over, situations we've hit our heads over, there are too many moments that caused me to thank high school for the times where I've laughed so hard that no sound came out of my mouth, where I've cheered so loud that also eventually no sound came out of my mouth, and for the bittersweet feeling it gives me now standing here. One of the greatest things I believe is that if you are grateful for someone, let them know. Tell them. It's so simple, but I think it's what makes the world go around. Because who are we hurting by telling? Why stop ourselves from adding an ounce of kindness into the world? And with that, I would like us to take this day of reflection and celebration to say a couple of thank yous. To our closest friends who have been with us through everything. To our teachers and guidance counselors who have gotten us to this moment. But while we say these thank yous, let's also not forget to say the deepest thanks to our classmates who we might not see again. Thank you for shaping our high school experience, for making us who we are today, for preparing us for who we will be in the future. As many of us fade from people we know to people we knew, I hope we can all take this time to appreciate those who through the little things, the big things, and everything in between have made us into who we are right now. And more importantly, let's let them know. So with that, thank you and congratulations to the class of 2023.
I now welcome to the stage the president of the senior class, Marcellus Thorson.
Good morning, class of 2023. My name is Marcellus Thorson, and I am the class president of the class of 2023. I want to thank you all for giving me the honor of serving as your class president these last 2 years. I also want to thank all the teachers who've truly had a monumental impact on my education, and of course my parents and my grandmother who flew all the way from Salt Lake City to see me here today. As we are all about to embark on separate yet uniquely exhilarating new paths, I want you to reflect on 2 aspects of high school that can get lost along the way: humanity and community. There's something special about how the microcosm of society that is the high school experience can reveal the layers behind the polished varnish of your fellow classmates. Whether it's when talking during an under-the-staircase lunch due to an overly packed learning commons, or during the distinctive cooperation created on a frantic last-minute FaceTime the night before a physics lab is due. High school has a way of showing you the person behind the person. These before the lab is due moments are a direct result of the odd community created when you stick 1,300 sleep-deprived yet ambitious teenagers into a building from 8 to 2:40. And these moments may seem commonplace now, but they should not be taken for granted. As our lives take more twists and turns and we grow further apart, oftentimes we lose sight of those times we learned something in a personal moment that challenged our surface level's assumptions of a classmate, or how a group of truly different people can come together just the night before to make a truly fantastic Google Slides presentation. As we venture out into the larger world, one that is increasingly losing its grip on what it means to be a community, and one where many fail to see the humanity in one another, it's important we keep these small yet essential moments close to our hearts. Many a time, speakers at graduation will talk about the fantastic and very good things a class will do, but I prefer to speak to the fantastic and very good things our class can do, because ultimately it's a choice. We leave this high school with a collaborative spirit, in a class filled with academic prowess and those willing to tackle, discuss, and argue about complex and pressing issues. What's left is how we choose to utilize and build upon these impressive skills. If we can remember the humanity and the community that was so essential and meaningful to our ascension into adulthood, then I truly believe we will be a class of those who serve, those who care, and those who advocate and act. We are entering into a world in which there is less compassion and kindness, less connectedness and common ground than in years past, yet we are resilient. As has been pointed out to me several times by Ms. Fox, our lived high school experience has been historic in nature. We've learned through a pandemic, or what my brain has loosely grouped together as a hazy block entitled hybrid learning, and several events that have shaken up discourse and division in our country. Yet here we are, mostly unscathed and ready to set off on a new chapter. Navigating through this next phase will not be easy in a society that feels as if it is shifting beneath our very feet. With advancing technology and a changing social fabric, we will need to remain vigilant and find creative ways to find community and see the good in one another. Luckily, I should be set, as I was told procrastination makes you 27% more creative. Regardless, as we move from a small, perhaps slightly dysfunctional, yet uniquely bonded class, and we grow into a much larger and disjointed society, the lessons from our small bubble still apply. Find ways to stay rooted, and always remember when a late night paper or surprising conversation changed your deep-seated perspective, as for us to be the class that will make a positive mark, these lessons will be essential. Thank you, and congratulations to the class of 2023.
Thank you, Marcellus. I would like to introduce our faculty speaker, John Yared. John Yared grew up in Jamaica Plain neighborhood of Boston. He earned a Bachelor of Science degree with distinction in the Mathematical Sciences from Worcester Polytechnic Institute, a Master of Arts degree in Mathematics from Boston College, and a Juris Doctor degree cum laude from Suffolk University Law School. Mr. Yared joined the faculty of CCE during the 1995-96 academic year, and since that time has taught all levels of mathematics, including advanced placement calculus to seniors this past year. Through his time here, he has served as a department chair, a mentor to new teachers, and a faculty advisor to class government and to the group Students Against Destructive Decisions. He is the founder and instructor of the popular CCHS Tai Chi Club. Prior to coming to CCHS, Mr. Yared served in Mercy Corps, a domestic volunteer program in which he lived and taught math to students from Native American tribes in northern New Mexico. Over a 4-year period, he also taught in the Urban Scholars Institute, a program for inner-city students at UMass Boston. He has practiced the Chinese arts of Tai Chi in Qigong for 3 decades and is certified Qigong instructor. He is a licensed attorney who has practiced in both federal and state courts in Massachusetts. He loves teaching, however, and has made this his chosen career. He is very appreciative every day of the opportunity he has had to educate and interact with the wonderful students at CCHS. Let's welcome Mr. John Ured.
Good morning. So many people have been asking me if I was nervous about giving this speech. And I said no. And they said, not even a little bit? I said no. And they said, well, you should be nervous. And I said, no, I have way too many friends in this audience. The minute I start failing, they're picking me right back up. But I am shivering, but it's because of the cold. This is the first time in 28 years on this campus that I'm not wearing a hoodie. So when your class officers came before school a few months ago and asked me to be the graduation speaker, I was incredibly honored and, interestingly enough, deeply humbled. I'm so proud to be forever associated with the class of 2023. Our school is a better place because of your four-year presence. You are full of talent, intelligence, and personality. You've displayed discipline, perseverance, teamwork in competitions, performances, and the arts. You have exemplified kindness, cooperation, and empathy in your charitable endeavors. You've balanced school with part-time jobs. Some of you have come to our school district from far away as China, South Korea, Japan, the Philippines, Iraq, Syria, Jordan, Belarus, Russia, Denmark, Holland, the United Kingdom, Haiti, Mexico, and the outermost borders of Carlisle. We live in Boston, Concord, Carlisle, and other towns, urban, suburban, varied backgrounds and customs, and sometimes different beliefs. Gathered into one building, but you shared not just time and space, but also your energy and your spirit. And the memories you've obtained these last 4 years will be part of you forever. As you depart here today and look out into the world to expand your mind, be sure to also let the world come into you. Open-mindedness only really happens when we truly take the time to listen to those who perhaps think differently than we do or have experienced life in a different way. You see, in life, we're all teachers and we're all students. We can learn from everyone, and we can all do great things by helping others to do great things. Now, when I was reflecting on what I would share with you today, the first thing that popped into my mind, you're never going to guess what it was. I'm just telling you. The first thing that popped into my mind was a bag of Pepperidge Farm goldfish crackers. I know some of you are saying to yourself, of course it's something food related. It always is with him. You know my motto, if I'm not teaching, I am eating. Okay, let me be more accurate. It was actually about an article I read in an alumni magazine about a man named Pat Callaghan, a marketing executive for the Pepperidge Farm Company. He considered his greatest accomplishment in that company to be spearheading the growth of the goldfish cracker line. It started as a $7 million product and grew to a $500 million business. In his words, we made one change. We put a smile on the goldfish in the 1990s and made it a brand with personality. It became the snack that smiles back. Sales doubled almost immediately. Our mission was easy, he said, to put a smile on the face of our consumer. Never underestimate the power of a smile or a simple greeting, some conversation, a fist bump. In a world that can sometimes seem cold, spend time more than money, give someone a genuine compliment. This is the key thing. Every person wants to feel valued, and every person deserves to feel valued. A number of years ago, I was walking through downtown Boston, and I ran into a Concord Carlisle alumni who had graduated several years earlier, now out of college and working downtown. Surprised to see me, he said, "Mr. Yarrett, it is so good to see you." And I said, "Yeah, I can totally see how it would be." I invited him to join me for lunch, and after talking for a while about his life and his career, getting all the updates, he saddened a little bit, and he said, "I just don't feel like I'm good at anything. I just never feel good enough." And I sat there thinking to myself, what is he talking about? He's good at pretty much everything he does. And the thing is, I've had numerous similar conversations with other students and former students since that time. All talented individuals, sometimes acting very confident with their peers, each having their unique skills and personalities, but many feeling somewhat inadequate, not measuring up. In their mind, not as good as others. So let me just say this. You are a group of talented, intelligent, creative, and kind-hearted young people. I am so proud of you. I want you to have the confidence to share these great attributes of yours with the world. To have the good in you help to bring out the good in others. Being human means being imperfect. Perfectionism is just the result of an illusion. A perfect person does not exist, so comparing yourself to one is useless. Have high standards and goals, but be honest with yourself. In your quest to be able to walk on water, be very proud of yourself when you are a really good swimmer. Many of you have shared with me your struggles throughout your high school years. Anxieties, learning challenges, health problems, injuries, family relationships, family issues, relationship woes. You've dealt with these admirably. And many more of you have carried burdens silently in the depths of your own heart, fighting the good fight and growing because of it. Today we celebrate not only academic achievement, but these personal victories as well. I cannot predict the future. I do know, however, that no one is exempt from the human experience. And each of you here will experience more challenges in the future. But it need not be a bleak future. We can find joy amidst the difficulties. Now, there are many ways to express the idea I want to say next. But personally, I like the dialogue used by the character Rocky Balboa in the 2006 movie by the same name. Rocky, a boxer, is talking with his son who is not a boxer. His son works in corporate America. But he uses a boxing metaphor with his son to describe dealing with the challenges and obstacles in life. It ain't about how hard you can hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. About how much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. So if you get a low grade in a college course, figure out what went wrong. If you need that subject for your career goals, maybe retake the class. but don't let one course derail you from your chosen career path. Keep moving forward. If the person you are in a relationship with breaks up with you and you feel devastated, or if some people exclude you from their social circle, analyze it if it helps. Go into nature to get some fresh air to recharge. Find new social venues. Don't shut down. Meet new people. Keep moving forward. If you don't get the job you applied for or into the graduate program you desire, pursue other organizations and institutions. Don't let anyone else determine your future. What should you do? Keep moving forward. If you're feeling bad about yourself, make a list of things that you do well. Acknowledge your positive traits. Develop what you feel is lacking and keep moving forward. When physically tired and emotionally depleted, take a break, get a change of scenery, rest and come back fresh, but don't quit. Keep moving forward. If you're having a bad day, know that you can coexist with it. Try to do something nice. Try to do something nice to make someone else's day brighter. You will find it will end up, most likely, brightening your own. Create some joy and keep moving forward. Because if the smile on an inanimate goldfish cracker can lift the spirits of millions of people, you, my friends, in the class of 2023, can do so much more. I wish you all the greatest joys life can offer. I will miss you greatly. Keep moving forward. Thank you so much.
Thank you, John. I would like to introduce Tracy Murano of the Concord Carlisle Regional School Committee, who will confer the diplomas to the class of 2023. Ms. Murano, the members of the class of 2023 presented to you today have successfully completed their high school education and have properly satisfied the graduation requirements set forth by the state of Massachusetts and the Concord Carlisle Regional School District. To present the members of the class of 2023, I also introduce their advisors, Ms. Hannah Bruno and Mr. Will Kameza. To the class of 2023, once you walk in front of the stage and receive your diploma, please pause for a moment while the photographer takes your picture. Ms. Bruno and Mr. Kameza, please present our graduates.
I'm going to take it off. I can do it. I can do it. I'll just put it right here. All right. Here we go.
When I'm up, I might switch over to the right.
We're ready. Are you guys ready? Class of 23, you ready? Marcellus Lee Thorson.
Tasia Ray Harvey.
Molly Ruth Brannigan. Aissatou Fatima Fofana. Richard Lee. Arden Jameson Trudeau. Iola Y. Chen. Sean Wu. Madeline Edmondson. Sydney Susan Haddad. Alicia Bott Smith. Abigail Charlotte Steffens. Isaac Arthur Pelliner. Elise Mariam Adorian. Isabel Ani Adorian. Abigail Efienwa Akubade. Muhim Ali Yaqub Al Darawisha. Zara Elidani.
Iman Muhammad Alo. Muna Al-Sharafi. Margot Gaia Wilson Angelino. Demetrios John Apollos. Alexa Joy Arcele. Anna Lee Armosita. Whitney Hillary Asamoah. Rahul Babu. Grace Margaret Baker. Chris Bow. Harding Bopin Jr. Tate Liberty Becker. Jasmine Aida Benham. Emily Victoria Belmont. Andrew Chadwick Blau. Georgia Louise Blunt. Nathaniel Lawson Blunt. Elias Creston Bondensgaard.
Amelia Marie Bondensgaard. Talia Reka Bout. Elena Barbara Boyle. Marcos Jose Braceras. Caroline Ruth Brady. Jonah Philip Brockman. Colin Benjamin Brooks. Ryan Aiden Brooks. Benjamin Mee Brown. Grady Stewart Burling. Roman Vittorio Caggiano. Michael Joseph Campagna. John Andrew Carnes. Jonah Carter. Sebastian Alonso Casimiro Nunez. Isabella Rose Cataffi. Nate Hayen Chaffin. Jonathan Smith Charles. Skylar Grace Chartery. Sarah Mutraza Charawala.
Allison Elizabeth Clark. Molly Louisa Clow. Kendall Grace Colleran. Sorrel Evie Collier. Phoebe Catherine Collins. Webb Gardner Constable.
Yes, Webb.
Lucinda Grace Cooper. Owen David Cornforth. Jake Robert Costello. Catherine Hope Josephine Crosby. Alan Nathaniel Crounce. Wesley Michael Curry. Caden James DeBraccio. William Peter Del Sobral. Trevor William Delaney. Lucas Camden DeMarco. Tatum Olivia DeMarco. Lucy Victoria DeRosa. Alexa Christie Detweiler. Ronan William D.
Jana Diane Damasio. Kian Nathan Dinner. Alexa Joan DePercio. Thomas Richard Dohoney. Richard Anthony Emmanuel Dorsey. Alec Ewan Dool. Emil Charles Dow. Helen Rose Dow. John James Drapo. Cole William Dressler. Samuel Harrison Dreyer. Brandon James Driscoll. Natalie Dudko. Daniel Luis Edelman. Natalie Grace Eisenbees. Anna Catherine Ely. Jeremiah Robert Engelman. Saskia Marie Erasmus. Samantha Lynn Evans.
Megan Ann Fairbank. Maisie Elizabeth Farrow. Azalea Feather. Gemma Juliet Feinstein. Finley Feist. Stavros Panagiotis First. Jenna Page Fitzpatrick. Evelyn Rice Freund. Lauren Elizabeth Fries. Ellie Worth Fritz. Erin Cecilia Gage. Andres Ignacio Garcia. Kalia Amera Garcia. Emma Elizabeth Gebhardt. Anna Michelle Gier. Jacqueline Claire Genova. Emma Elizabeth Gibson. Jack Hunter Giza. Samuel Allen Gilden. Alessandra Siroun Giragos.
Hannah Gurma. Annika Catherine Glitzenstein. Jack Andrew Goldberg. Jack William Gorwitz. Sydney Paige Graham. Brendan Michael Graziani. Caroline Grace Graziani. John Andrew Graziani. Leah Autumn Greenberg. Ellen Patricia Grahan. Hannah Alice Dorothy Griffin. Sophie Ahen Haddadine. Evan Richmond Hadley. Tatum Elizabeth Hadley. Miana Allison Hamill. Maya Hamilton. Henry Coleman Hansel. Alexander Harrington. Camilla Sweet Harvey.
Daniel Eugene Haslam III.
Wait, did we skip her? Mahira Hassan.
Mary Lee Havens. Jada Marie Haygood. Elizabeth Longstreth Hedeman. Emma Frances Henschke. Robin Cheever Herbert. Lucas Antonio Herrero. Freya Hill. Harry James Holden. Brandon James Howard. Timothy Wiggins Shea. Ronan Huang. Nabil Husseini. Anna Alexander Ilicheva. Celise Sariel Isaac. Phoenix Bisbee Jacobs. Wyatt Jeglum James. Brian Paul Jennings. Colin Andrew Jennings.
Daniel Zhang. Ethan Sultan Thomas Gina. Avery Evelyn Johnson. Elena Page Johnson. Nevin Layton Johnson. Tyler Francis Johnson. Abigail Ruth Yanchik. Saula Carita. Christian Ackerman Carl. Sean Francis Carmen. Jenna Anna Keefe. Sophia Borelli Lester. Lucienne Elizabeth Keene. Leah Kathleen Kilty. Joshua Simon Carimo. Charles Green Kessler. John Quinn Keeler. Callan Robert Kirkpatrick. Eleanor Bernadette Konings. Mallory Barbara Kosiba.
John Maxwell Kosicki. Sophia Grace Krug. Hunter Zlatko Kuftanek. Samantha Rose LaCourcia. Emil Joseph Lauren. Michael Cleary Lauren. Joseph Elwood Byron Lavery. William Emery Law. Kyle Cheng Chua Lee. Lucas Cheng Young Lee. Marcus Eugene Lee. Shane Lee. Penelope Snow Lemon. Mihir Kumar Lennox. Clara Pell Lewis. Caden Reese Lewis. Margaret Navia Lewis. Josiah Liang. Alex Liu. Kira Eileen Lonadier.
Colin James Longmire. Jason Liu. Tiffany Liu. Lu Yu Lau. William Emmett Lurker. Christopher Daniel Youssef Lynch. Caitlin Alexandra Lyons. Grace Ann Marie Maione. Madeline Rose Maione. Grace Rose Monero. Jack James Monero. Michael James Morano. Ethan Lawrence Martell. Fiona Maeve Martinelli. Ryan William Martinez. Owen Jan Emsbo Mattingly. Brandon Marer Ouellette. James Joseph Mon. Caden John McGeo. Michael Theodore McEwen.
Miles Raymond McLaughlin. Cameron James McLeod. Frederick Frank McWilliams. Ken Renzo Hontanar Medina. Benjamin Charles Megan. Autumn Sade Mendonza. Holden Ernest Miller. Jack Reynolds Miller. Naomi Elizabeth Miller. Lindsay Elizabeth Mingola. Nora Lee Moulton. Colette Hannah Monet. Zachary Raymond Monson. Dennis Todd Morgan. Kaylin Jane Morrissey. Ariana Sky Mustafi. Shiro Mirori. Okay. Connor Charles Murphy. Maxwell Glendon Murphy. Lorena Neptune. Blake Lawrence Newcomb.
Tucker William Norton. Annabelle Sterling O'Keefe. Jack Walter Ohanian. Chloe Rose Palmer. Christian Hamilton Palmer. Morgan Andrew Palmer. Elizabeth Chandler Parker. Stephen John Parker. Kiran Ulan Sanal Patel. Raymond Zeeland Pavlik. Michael Benson Peachy. Caleb Baker Peck. Gabriel Pereira Derice. Christian Alexander Perota Jr. Kiara Miriam Petracek. Leslie Knapp Piccioni. Lindsay Wood Piper. Anastasia Constantine Porfido. Victoria Alexandra Poulin. Ariana Gray Quayle.
Joost Harmon Robert Jan Radstaka. Caleb Matthew Randall. Avani Zahar Rebbe. Henry Mills Reikley. David Justison Rennert. Bowden Ellsworth Rice. Sophie Anastasia Richardson. Jamie Marie Richer. Mai and Wynn Richmond. Lydia Rossing Robert. Anson McCord Rogers. Grace Hadley Rodrigue. Hayes Kennedy Segallen. Benjamin Cirillo Sanchez. Paige Elizabeth Schaefer. Alexander Orion Darrow Seeger. Adam Ernest Theodore Seelig. Julianne Grace Serafini. Arnav Parag Shah. Harrison George Shaw.
Lucas Daquan Shen. Eva Renault Shutt. Heather Ann Logan Sibley. Declan Ankney Seifer. Kelsey Ann Sim. Darren Anthony Simmons. Desmond Jim Simon. Bryson Cole Smith. Julia Margaret Smith. Zoe Doherty Smith. Maddie Carmel Smith. Zachary Charles Snar. Sarah Rachel Solomon. Taylor Stanton. Sophie Elaine Stackness. William Peter Stansler. Alexandra Mary Steffens. Margaret Helen Stevens. Sally Eleanor Stevens.
Jackson Lee Stone. Joshua Mingshrin Sun. Anna Rose Sweeney.
Yes, Anna.
Lily Kayana Thorpe. Ready? Noah Everett Thorpe. Sophia Ioana Travias. Uladzimir Serkanu.
Yes, Dad.
Ozan Guven Turner. Samuel Oran Tustin. Levent Jung Yunal.
Yeah, Levent.
Lola Beth Van Duzer. Rowan Grace Van Houten. Margot Amelia Venesi. Ava Kennedy Brooke Wagner. Leah Catherine Waldeck. Elizabeth Mila Walsh. Stephen William Walsh. Adrian Mingyu Wang. Crystal Zilwei Wang.
Aurora Karis Watson. Kyle Joseph Waxler. Harrison Mei Sheng Wei. Erin Patricia Weingarten. Hudson Pierce Wessel. Hayden Bud Pusselon West. Tyler Thor Westland. Tyler Grant Bagley White. Jacqueline Jean White. Ashley Elizabeth Whelan. Caroline Paget Whelan. Sydney Marin Wiggins. Forrest Hugh Williams. Tyson Reese Williams. Thomas Aiden Winkleman. Ian Nicholas Wallaceau. Andrew Thomas Wright. Kevin Brady Wright. Andrew Sargent Wu. Juliana Yulian Wu. Mei Chu Aurora Wu. Sabrina Faye Young.
Great job. Just waiting for them to sit. Okay, graduates. You may now move your tassels from the right side to the left. And okay. All right, let's do this. And now, with hearty congratulations and our sincere best wishes, I declare the class of 2023 officially dismissed. And maybe there might be some sun today.